There was a death in the WWE family this week. The first celebrity inductee into the WWE Hall of Fame passed away this week. Pete Rose died on Monday at the age of 83 from heart disease. He is baseball's all-time hit king, well north of 4,000 hits in his career. Won 3 World Series championships, famously banned from baseball due to betting on games, including Reds games, while he was managing the team, which is prohibited. The rules don't make the distinction of whether or not you are betting for or against your team, but if you are involved, that is a violation of the rules. And a lot of people believe he did bet against his own team while he was managing, even though there was no evidence of it. He's always denied it. People that knew him believe that he did. And you could see where that would be problematic because, in theory, it could influence the moves that you make in the course of a game. It could influence the decisions that you're making during a game if you know you have money on that game. So he agreed to a permanent ban from baseball. And Bart Giamatti, who had only been the commissioner for a few months by that point, he died, I think, like a week later of a heart attack. So how's that for eerie? You don't think this didn't weigh on him? He was only 51 years old. A week after this all goes down, he drops. But Rose applied for reinstatement multiple times over the years with different commissioners. Every single time his request was shot down or ignored. Now, he was also deemed ineligible for induction into the Baseball Hall of Fame. Just based on his stats alone, he would have been a shoo-in. Easy first ballot Hall of Famer. But there's always been this heated debate about whether or not he deserved to be inducted because of the gambling stuff. Ultimately, he never was. But he was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame in 2004, which is where the so-called celebrity wing started. And it was all just kind of tongue-in-cheek. Since baseball wouldn't induct him into its Hall of Fame, WWE decided to induct him into theirs. It was never meant to open the floodgates to other celebrities going in, but that's what ended up happening. This was after he made 3 straight WrestleMania appearances starting in 1998. And I believe he also guest hosted an episode of Raw during the guest host era. It was very appropriate for him to be working with Kane, given that when he played for the Reds, they were referred to as the Big Red Machine. So in WWE, he worked with the Big Red Machine, and his first 2 WrestleMania appearances are really the most memorable. He healed on the crowd in Boston at 14, and then he got tombstoned by Kane, which was always weird because Kane was a heel, but he got just a mega babyface reaction for dropping Pete Rose on his head in Boston that night. And then the following year, he tried to get revenge on Kane. He attacked him while he was dressed up as the San Diego Chicken, and he got tombstoned again. So his appearances were always very entertaining, and he got it. He was in on the joke. He understood how to get heat. Didn't mind being made to look foolish. Maybe he just needed the payday. I don't know, but his appearances were always very entertaining. The gambling stuff is not the only controversy that dogged him, though. There was a story maybe 6 or 7 years ago where he sued the special counsel that was brought in by MLB to investigate his gambling allegations back in the 80s. This guy, John Dowd. And when the lawyer did an interview a few years ago, and maybe we're going back like 9 or 10 years, he was doing an interview. I don't know if it was a radio interview or a magazine or what it was. But the lawyer claimed that Rose had committed statutory rape. And the case that Rose filed against him, because he filed suit, it got thrown out after they found there was a sworn statement that had alleged that Rose was having sex with a minor back in the 70s, which he later admitted to. The girl was only 14 or 15 years old at that time and said that they had sex in and out of the state of Ohio. And Rose admitted to having sex with her, but he claimed that she was 16 at the time, which is very convenient because 16 is, of course, the age of consent in a lot of states, Ohio being one of those states. And he claimed that they never had sex outside the state. So make of that what you will. He admits to having sex with her. He would have been in his early 30s, I think, at that time. And she would have been, again, 14, 15. He claimed 16. But his response to a reporter about it a couple of years ago was, "It was 55 years ago, babe." Who cares about what happened 50 years ago? You weren't even born. So you shouldn't be talking about it because you weren't born. That's a hell of a response. See, today I learned that you're not allowed to talk about something that happened before you were born. Pete Rose may belong in the Hall of Fame for all of his records, but he certainly won't be inducted for his brain, making statements like that. He won't be inducted into the Hall of Fame at all, because if it hasn't happened by now, then it's not ever going to happen. And I think people confuse lifetime ban with permanent ban. Because already on social media, I see the comments, well, he's dead now. His life is over. That means his lifetime ban is over. No, it wasn't a lifetime ban. It was a permanent ban. So him dying doesn't suddenly mean that he can go in now. He's not going in. And I will say, the Hall of Fame did not adopt the rule barring players on the permanently ineligible list from being inducted into the Hall of Fame. That actually happened a couple of years after Rose got banned. And it was clearly done to keep him out of the Hall of Fame. I mean, the timing of them adopting that rule is not a coincidence. Had Pete Rose known that agreeing to a ban would also block him from ever being inducted into the Hall of Fame, it's possible he would not have agreed to that deal in the first place. But at the end of the day, he still broke the rules. And a lot of players have said this. It's plastered on the wall of every clubhouse in baseball that any player, any umpire, anyone, coach, manager, anyone connected with the game, if you bet on baseball, and specifically games that you are directly involved in or have a stake in, it is a permanent ban. Every clubhouse, you can't pretend that you don't know the rules. It's right there in your face. And I honestly think that if he had just told the truth sooner and seemed genuinely remorseful for what he did, the right people may have had more sympathy for him, and maybe things would have been different. Maybe he would have been reinstated, or maybe he would be in the Hall of Fame right now. He didn't admit to betting on baseball until his book came out in 2004, and that was because he had books to sell. Had he come out sooner and been more contrite, I think people are generally forgiving, for certain things. I think it's very possible he would have been reinstated by now. But, on the question of should he be in the Hall of Fame, it opens up a Pandora's box, because now you also get into whether people like Barry Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame. Should Roger Clemens be in the Hall of Fame, even though they use performance-enhancing drugs? Right? They use drugs, but so did a lot of players. Are we to believe that everybody in the Hall of Fame right now was clean for their entire career? Because I've got a bridge in Brooklyn here I could sell you if you believe that. Some people were just better at not getting caught than others. The one thing that makes me lean towards saying yes on Pete going in is the fact that they passed that Hall of Fame rule only after he agreed to the ban. And I think that Bob Costas actually has the right idea on this. For all of his accomplishments, put him in the Hall of Fame, and at the bottom of his plaque, just put banned from baseball, 1989. I think that would be an appropriate compromise. But chime in, let me know what you think. I'm genuinely curious where people fall on this, because I know it's been a very divisive thing for years, among sports fans. But I feel like more people than not are on the side of he should be it. So if so, why? If not, then why not? Let me know what you think.